Tiffany Henyard, the first female mayor of Dolton, Illinois, has become the focal point of a political scandal that has gone beyond just questioning her leadership. It has now evolved into a high-stakes drama that has engulfed the entire town's political landscape. When Henyard first assumed office in the year 2021, she was celebrated as a pioneer, a symbol of inspiration whose leadership was expected to bring a wave of positive change. Many believed her election marked the beginning of a new era filled with progress and transformation. However, those early hopes quickly turned into disappointment as her time in office descended into a series of accusations, controversies, and legal troubles. What started as a promising chapter in Dolton's history soon darkened with allegations of intimidation, questionable employment practices, and abuses of power. The situation took an even more troubling turn when fear spread among the town's residents, making them hesitant to speak out against her leadership. Many now worry that voicing their concerns may result in personal retaliation. As tensions rise, Dolton has become clouded with suspicion and distrust, a problem only magnified when public figures such as Joseph James Rogan, known professionally as Joe Rogan, brought the scandal into the national spotlight. The involvement of a well-known commentator has heightened concerns, leaving the town's residents feeling both exposed and unheard. What was once seen as a hopeful change in leadership has now transformed into a toxic political environment where criticism is met with fear. Accusations have emerged that Henyard has employed authoritarian tactics to suppress her critics, undermining the fundamental principles of accountability, open communication, and transparency. Instead of fostering a healthy political climate, she is now being accused of cultivating a culture of fear. The very people of Dolton, who once believed they were making history by electing her, now question whether she truly serves their interests or if her actions reveal a deeper motivation to silence dissent. This situation is a stark reminder of how quickly public trust can erode, turning what was supposed to be a moment of progress into a full-blown scandal. The central question now is whether Henyard can survive the storm surrounding her, or if this controversy will ultimately bring about her downfall. Her political future hangs in the balance as both legal and public scrutiny continue to mount. The people of Dolton are demanding answers, and Henyard must now confront the consequences of the crisis she has created. The stakes have never been higher as the scandal continues to unfold. Only time will tell whether Henyard can salvage her position, or if the damage to her credibility is beyond repair. As tensions escalate, the fallout from her actions continues to grow. Dolton stands at a crossroads, waiting to see whether Henyard can restore faith in her leadership, or if her tenure will mark the end of her political career. The situation reached a critical point when a scheduled village hall meeting was abruptly canceled due to a lack of attendance, an embarrassing development for a leader already facing heavy criticism. The town's political climate has become increasingly fraught with uncertainty, leaving Dolton's residents feeling betrayed by the very leaders they entrusted with their governance. Henyard's approach to leadership has raised serious concerns about transparency, accountability, and democratic governance. As conditions worsen, accusations of intimidation have taken center stage, with many claiming that Henyard has used fear tactics to silence those who dare to question her authority. The situation has become so severe that residents are now afraid to speak up, fearing personal scrutiny or even potential punishment. The fear of retaliation is unmistakable in the community. Individuals who have voiced concerns about Henyard's administration feel as though they are being targeted and pressured into silence. Protests and vocal demonstrations have erupted in response, with frustrated residents demanding answers and questioning whether their mayor has overstepped the boundaries of her power. The situation took an even more dramatic turn when well-known podcaster Joe Rogan addressed the controversy. Recognized for his straightforward and often provocative takes on controversial topics, Rogan did not hold back in his criticism of Henyard. He labeled her actions as an outright abuse of power, a statement that resonated not only with the people of Dolton, but with a nationwide audience. With an extensive platform that reaches millions of listeners, Rogan's intervention thrust Dolton's local political turmoil into the national conversation. His blunt and scathing remarks highlighted the broader implications of unchecked political authority, making it clear that the issues in Dolton extended far beyond local politics. They served as a warning about the dangers of allowing power to go unchallenged and the fragility of democratic institutions when officials are permitted to act without accountability. Henyard's critics argue that her conduct has led to the suppression of free speech and a breakdown of trust in the local government. Residents feel vulnerable and fear that speaking openly about their concerns will invite retaliation from those in power. Despite the national backlash and increasing scrutiny, Henyard's behavior has not changed. Reports continue to surface of ongoing intimidation and retribution, with individuals claiming that opposing her could come with serious consequences. In Dolton, where political opposition is allegedly met with threats and intimidation, residents are left questioning whether they will ever regain the ability to freely express their concerns and engage in meaningful political discussions. The pervasive fear of retaliation has seeped into everyday life, making it difficult for people to trust their elected officials. It has also cast a shadow over any hope for meaningful political reform. What is at stake here is far more than just Henyard's reputation or political career. It is the integrity of the town's leadership and the fundamental principles of democracy itself. The situation unfolding in Dolton serves as a cautionary tale, demonstrating how unchecked power and a lack of accountability can rapidly erode public trust, leaving communities fearful and disillusioned. As the scandal deepens, the question remains: will Henyard be able to recover from this crisis and restore faith in her leadership, or will this be the scandal that ultimately leads to her political downfall? The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: Dolton's residents are watching closely, demanding answers and waiting for the truth to come to light. The very principles that are supposed to serve as the foundation of democratic governance are now being questioned in Dolton. Local officials are meant to represent and serve the people, yet Tiffany Henyard's actions are being portrayed as a blatant abuse of power. She is accused of maintaining her control over Dolton through fear and intimidation. The notion that a public official could resort to such oppressive tactics is among the most alarming aspects of this entire controversy. It represents a profound violation of the values that the people of Dolton once held dear. As the community struggles to cope with the aftermath of Henyard's leadership, the call for accountability has never been more urgent. The fact that so many residents are afraid to speak out, even when they risk facing scrutiny or retaliation, is a chilling indicator of just how much Dolton has changed under her rule. What initially seemed like a local governance issue has now escalated into a national concern, raising serious questions about the erosion of civil liberties and the necessity of holding public officials accountable for their actions. The political climate in Dolton has been further complicated by recent legal developments. A court decision recently declined to hold Henyard in contempt for failing to comply with court orders, a ruling that many residents see as a symbol of the deeply entrenched political dysfunction in their town. The decision has sparked widespread frustration and outrage, leaving many to wonder how such blatant disregard for legal obligations can continue without consequences. This ruling serves as a stark warning that ignoring the rule of law could invite even greater scrutiny and potentially severe legal repercussions in the future. As investigations into Henyard's actions continue, many residents remain hopeful that justice will eventually prevail. However, the increasing tension in Dolton suggests that time is running out for Henyard. The most pressing question now is whether the people of Dolton will ever regain trust in their local government and whether Henyard's conduct will ultimately lead to a much-needed shift in leadership. This political scandal has already left an irreversible stain on Dolton, yet the situation continues to deteriorate. Residents have voiced their mounting anger, accusing Henyard of fostering a chaotic political environment designed to serve only her own interests. Some have even compared her actions to those of a character from a Hollywood movie, an ironic twist considering her status as Dolton's first female mayor. These comparisons underscore the deepening disillusionment with her administration, and many are calling for a complete restructuring of the town's local government. What started as a local governance issue in Dolton has now ignited a nationwide discussion about the abuse of power and the decline of civil liberties. People across the country are watching closely, eager to see how the situation will unfold. Many are beginning to question whether Henyard's actions are indicative of a larger problem within American politics. Meanwhile, the people of Dolton continue to demand transparency and accountability, hoping that the end of Henyard's tenure will mark the beginning of much-needed political reform in their community. The controversy surrounding Henyard has taken yet another turn with her recent hiring of a lawyer whose background has raised significant concerns. This decision has further fueled public alarm as residents question the kind of leadership they are receiving. Many are left wondering why Henyard would align herself with such a controversial figure, and the criticism of this move has only intensified the already raging controversy surrounding her administration. As Dolton's residents continue to grapple with the aftermath of Henyard's actions, it is clear that the town's political crisis is far from over. Tensions continue to rise, and the future of Henyard's leadership remains highly uncertain. Residents are left wondering whether this scandal will mark the end of her troubled reign or serve as a catalyst for a larger movement demanding change in local politics. The stakes have never been higher, and the people of Dolton are watching closely, hoping for the accountability and leadership they desperately need. Tiffany Henyard, the first female mayor of Dolton, Illinois, now finds herself at the center of a political scandal that is shaking the very foundation of local governance. Initially celebrated as a beacon of hope and progress, her tenure has rapidly unraveled into a chaotic saga of financial mismanagement, abuse of power, and public fear. Henyard, who assumed office in the year 2021 with bold promises of transformation, is now facing intensifying scrutiny from the very people she was elected to serve. What once seemed like a promising era in Dolton's history has now devolved into a toxic political crisis. The scandal took a dramatic turn when Henyard made the controversial decision to hire a lawyer named Brinley, an attorney with a highly problematic history, to represent her in legal matters. Brinley had previously served as the defense attorney for the disgraced rhythm and blues singer Robert Sylvester Kelly, professionally known as R. Kelly, during his highly publicized trial. This connection immediately raised eyebrows and sparked a fresh wave of public criticism. Henyard's decision to align herself with such a controversial figure has led many to question her judgment and decision-making abilities. Critics argue that hiring an attorney with a track record of representing high-profile individuals involved in serious legal scandals not only damages her credibility, but also reflects poorly on her leadership. This decision is not simply a matter of poor judgment. It serves as a symbol of Henyard's broader leadership style, which many residents view as authoritarian and self-serving. While some of her supporters may argue that she is merely doing what is necessary to defend herself in an increasingly hostile political climate, the overwhelming sentiment among Dolton's residents is one of betrayal. Many believe that this decision only confirms their worst fears about her leadership. The controversy surrounding her administration continues to escalate, and residents are now demanding answers, accountability, and a clear path forward for their community. As the political crisis deepens, the people of Dolton are left to wonder whether this scandal will bring an end to Henyard's reign or mark the beginning of a larger reckoning within their local government. What remains certain is that the residents of Dolton are no longer willing to sit idly by. They are determined to restore transparency, integrity, and trust in their local leadership, no matter how long the fight for accountability takes.